Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel with Nubo, and today I'd like to do a bit of a product demonstration and showcase the process in getting an application live with Nubo. Starting off, I'll notice that at the top here I have a list of all of my projects. I can of course select a previously created project that I've made in the past, or in this case I'm just going to create a new project at the top right here with this button. It's going to automatically generate a space-themed project name for us, and I can change that if I'd like, add a description. In this case, I'm satisfied with this name, so I'll just select create. It will create that project, and I can select on that here. Of course, there's nothing running on this project quite yet, so it's going to be empty. At the top right here, I'll notice a drop down. This drop down is representing the current space that I'm on. Spaces with Nubo are different development environments that I may create. These development environments, think of like a dev environment, a staging environment, and a production environment. I can create these different spaces and manage those in the project settings. The project settings will be coming out in a few weeks in an upcoming release. For now, I'd like to just get something live, so I'm just going to select add frame here. It's going to pull up a list of all of my repositories that have been imported from my GitHub account. If you are new to Nubo, it's going to prompt you to install our GitHub application when you first log in. This application allows us to source both your public and your private repositories. So for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to select this React Vite Starter repository. The main branch is OK, and I believe this application is running on port 6826. So I'll select that there, and I can select deploy. Alright, we'll notice that this frame starts to build here. I can select this frame, and in a moment the build logs are going to start to populate on the right. Under the hood at Nubo, we are using build packs in order to take your source code and transform that into an OCI compliant image. We then take that image and deploy it to our infrastructure and handle scaling and everything related to that behind the scenes. Build packs are great because it allows us to not require any Docker files or any type of crazy configuration to the source code. This process may take a few minutes for it to pull down your source code, for it to analyze it and determine what the application is. If it's a JavaScript or Node.js environment, it's going to look at your package JSON and determine if there's any build scripts. If there are build scripts, it will run those. If it's a language like Go, it's going to compile that down. So while this is building, of course, grab a cup of coffee, hang out for a few minutes, and once it's done, we should have a working application that we can share with anyone. Cool, it looks like the build was successful. We're just waiting for the frame to wrap up in the process. And we'll know it's ready to go once this frame status here updates to online. Excellent. So I can take a look at my deployments tab here, and we'll notice that this deployment is now showing up here, which is cool. If I head over to settings, we will notice these are all of the configuration options that we have available to us. I'll go over these briefly here in a second. I'd like to just take a look at our application that we've just deployed. It might take a few seconds for it to actually populate here, and we'll notice we're getting an error. So I believe I've made a mistake here. This application port should actually be 8080 instead. So I'll just change that and hit update. Successfully updated port. Awesome. If I head back onto our application, we'll notice, boom, this app is now live. I can send this URL to anyone in the world and they'd be able to access my application. Coming back here, let's take a look at some of the configuration options. At the bottom here, we'll notice we have a deployment trigger option. This is a built-in CI/CD pipeline that we have available to us. So in the event that I'd like to, for example, select pull request here, and I can have a bunch of options here for like merged, for example, and then target branch for main. This is telling Nubo that I would like to redeploy my frame whenever a pull request is merged to the main branch. I have other options here for push to a certain branch or just a simple release being created. But in our case, I'll just go back to the pull request and save that here. I can redeploy accordingly as needed. The deployment options we have here are the number of replicas as well. These are the number of instances that are actually running on our infrastructure. So if you need, in the event that your application gets a lot of requests, you can increase the number of replicas to handle that accordingly. All right, if I head over here to live logs, we will notice that these are now our runtime logs. So if I go back to our application, make a few requests to the application, we'll notice that those logs come in here, and yeah, that's pretty neat. So I can exit out of that. But that's basically a rundown of getting something launched with Nubo. Of course, this is still version 2 beta, so you might run into some issues. If you do notice any bugs or errors, feel free to reach out to us. If you want to take a look at our documentation or any of our guides, you can do so on the left here. If you have any feature requests or anything, feel free to reach out to us at support@withnubo.com. We'd love to hear what you think. We have a lot of stuff planned for the future, so very exciting stuff to come. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you. Bye.